So, good morning to you all. Let's start this webinar. Welcome to the last webinar for the craft skills for garden conservation. To start a little bit telling about this project, you probably already know, but the craft skills for garden conservation deals with finding, developing and sharing best practices in garden conservation. It's an Erasmus Plus project, and it aims at finding the best practices for 9 selected fields in the garden conservation. And the project would also like to facilitate platforms for learning and sharing. In the project, 7 partners are involved from Sweden, Norway, the UK, Germany and the Netherlands, the European Garden Heritage Group, the European Masters for Skilled Crafts, Kunibouwhuis and Gardens, Paleis het Loo, the UK Plant Network, the Craft Laboratory and the Norwegian Grønne Fagskole, the Green Skills Group from the VEA from Norway. With this project, we covered indeed 9 different subjects: soil management, lawns and meadows cultivation, trained fruit in historic gardens, ornamental plants, trees, hedges and topiary cultivation, management of orangery plants, pathway and stone wall management, and ponds and fountains. As you can see in the overview, most of the programs are already have been taking place, and we still, in this last year of the project, have to organize the workshop on the management of orangey plants and the workshop on pathway and stone wall management. Today will be the webinar of the pond and fountains, and the related workshop will be organized on the 4th and the 5th of June this year. And in the end of the program, I will tell a little bit more on what to expect. So today, it's all about water management, about ponds and fountains in historic gardens. It's a webinar with, in the morning program, a lot of garden history, the tales and stories about how important water is and was in the different historic gardens. And during the afternoon, we will focus more also on present day lessons learned and best practices. But before we start, I would like to share a little bit about water management early on, because during the webinar, of course, we focus on the history of the gardens that are part of the network. But of course, working with water is already very ancient. Here, for instance, we see some remnants of Noria pots. Noria pots were already before Christ a way to work with a water wheel. A Noria is a water wheel, and these finds are already from 30 BC till a little bit after Christ were used. For me, it's a little bit difficult now because all the little pictures of the participants are partly in the way of the information, but I think you get the picture. Like, so those clay pots were attached to the water wheel, and these were the first ways to overcome height difference, or to bring water to a higher level so that the water and the pressure of the water could be used to get flowing water into gardens. For Europe, the first recorded use of a ram pump, so a pump really working with hydrological power, is the Alhambra, where they actually, for the first time, made dams in the river high up in the hills, made an enormous reservoir, everything handmade, and then a very long 6-kilometer clay ditch, more or less, to bring the water into into the gardens of Alhambra, who was situated high up on a hill. And even the last bit, they had an aqueduct to bring the water to the gardens. And I think that image of the aqueducts is also very true for the different Roman or historical Roman gardens. So although during the webinar now we will focus mainly on the 17th century and later on, please keep in mind that there are also older examples of special water management for gardens.